Good morning, everybody. Welcome to NABA TV. You know who I am, National Co-Director of the National African Business Association. We're broadcasting live right here from downtown Detroit. You know the results. Donald Trump is now the president-elect of the United States of America. He'll be our 45th president come January 20th on Inauguration Day. There are a lot of people who are scared out there. They're afraid that Donald Trump, in his first 100 days, is going to deport 11 million immigrants, illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants. I can rest assure you that's not going to happen. This immigration debate has been going on for the last 25 years, and we're still at square one. So even though the executive office and the U.S. House and I believe the U.S. Senate, I didn't get a chance to see any final results with the U.S. Senate, but I think it's under all Republican control right now, and that's okay. We've been down this road before. We know it's going to be a lot of infighting. It's going to still be establishment versus anti-establishment candidates, or it's not candidates, elected officials in the Republican Party. So they're going to probably oust Paul Ryan and elect their own person. I don't know. But, a lot of people out there are scared about Donald Trump becoming the president. A lot of people are blaming white supremacy and neo-Nazism and all these things. And, while those things may have played a role in electing Donald Trump, and I'm just going to be honest with you, and I used this analogy last night at the Michigan Democratic Party event at the MGM Grand, you had Hillary Clinton. She was endorsed by all these newspapers. And Donald Trump was endorsed by one, and that one was the Crusader, which is the official newspaper of the Ku Klux Klan. And he swept the South. He won Florida. He swept the entire South. He won Pennsylvania, Michigan. He won all the key battleground states, and he won. And so the next thing we have to take a look at is what do we do next? Now, let me just run a disclaimer again. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm an independent voter. I've worked the Democratic side. I've worked the Republican side. And both parties are broken. And that's why I chose to be an independent a few years ago. One of the things I feel, if you're a Democrat living here in Michigan, you need to get rid of your chair, Brandon Dillon. You guys need to do something at your next convention and oust that joker. And here's why. If you're a Democrat living in Michigan and you have an opportunity to take back the state house, you should have been able to take that state house back. You should have took those seats. And you could have rolled the issue with Flint in the ground. You could have rolled the issue with the emergency manager in the ground. You could have rolled a lot of issues coming out of Lansing in the ground. And the Democratic Party simply didn't capitalize on that. The Flint issue alone, you should have just left that alone. You should have ran that in the ground and won your seats, and that didn't happen. In fact, I believe one or two incumbents lost their seats last night, who are Democrats. You guys got to get rid of Brandon Dillon and do something different. That's just absolutely absurd. And the other thing is, yes, I think America is ready for a female president. I support women empowerment. I think America is ready for a female president. Not necessarily Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is a retread from the past. And I think instead of us always trying to vote as what we call a comfort zone vote. Oh, if I vote for Hillary Clinton, I'll feel comfortable and we can just move on with Obama's policies. Apparently, a lot of people are pissed off with Obama's policies, and it was shown last night with Donald Trump being elected. I think it's time for a party, whether you're Democrat or Republican or even a third party, to rise up. And yes, you should want to run a woman candidate for president, a little bit younger, more 21st century focused. It could be a black woman. It can be a Hispanic woman. It could be an outsider, anti-establishment candidate, whatever the case may be, but the message has to be different. And I think one of the things that dogged Hillary Clinton throughout the entire campaign were her emails, the way she handled Benghazi, her pandering in the city of places like the city of Flint. She didn't give a damn about Flint and its water until she wanted to make it a political issue, and then she wanted to set up shop. Bernie Sanders did the same thing. And speaking of Bernie Sanders, if I was a Democrat, you should be pissed off at Bernie Sanders because it was his supporters that got Trump in, not the Klan or anybody. It was Bernie Sanders supporters, and here's the proof of that. You take a look at his pattern during the primary when he ran against Hillary Clinton. Now, even though you had a lot of young people supporting Bernie Sanders because of the free college thing and all this stuff, you had a lot of white males. These are working class white males. These are your people who work at the plants. These are your people who are doing hard labor. They're the ones that was actually supporting Bernie Sanders. And a lot of people, I'll never forget this report on CNN. They were interviewing some people out of West Virginia, the state that Bernie Sanders won during the primary. They said, well, Bernie is not going to be nominated. We're going to switch our vote over to Trump. And that, what my friends, is the trend that's what happened. It was Bernie Sanders supporters who were anti-establishment that got Trump elected, and that's just the reality of the situation. Hillary just didn't stand a chance in hell last night of winning the presidency. Do we want a woman president in the near future? Absolutely. For anybody who do not believe that a woman can't be elected in the United States, they're fooling themselves. We are going to see a great leadership in the days to come. So the next thing we need to talk about is the fear factor. Oh my God, Donald Trump is going to put 11 million legal immigrants. That's not going to happen, folks. Donald Trump is going to put us back in slavery. It's not going to happen. Donald Trump's going to take away our rights. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to get up off your ass every morning and go to work. You're gonna get up off your ass. You're gonna go work, pay your bills, raise your children, graduate from college. Take care of yourself health-wise. You're gonna marry. You're gonna have children. You're gonna have family coming from other parts of the world. You're gonna be able to go to other parts of the world. You're not moving to Canada. Let's get the BS. You're not moving to Canada. Your ass. A lot of us don't even have the money to move to Canada. Let's just cut the nonsense and understand that Donald Trump is the president. Just like George Bush 16 years ago became president, and he served 2 terms. Was it the best 2 terms? Probably not, depending on who you're talking to. But Donald Trump, my prediction at 70 years old, he'll probably just serve 1 term. That gives the Republican Party who didn't support him and even the Democrats enough time to get another candidate that can run in the position of president of the United States. Meanwhile, we need to figure out what Donald Trump's philosophy is. And I don't want to hear nothing from black folks talking about, his philosophy is racism and white supremacy. That's a bunch of BS. We got to get serious. His philosophy is rooted in economics. And so black folks, one of the reasons why black folks are in fear factor and fear mode this morning is because we want to have a social platform called the urban agenda to push first, and not an economic agenda. Well, now's the time to push that economic agenda. And so with the economic agenda, we need to be serious about institution building, not just financial services, but financial institutions, establishing credit unions, banks, CDFIs, and the likes. We need to be in the process of rebuilding our communities with a tax base. Now, Donald Trump claimed he's going to help black folks in the inner city by moving some refugee resettlement money or whatever to help the inner cities. Well, we don't really need that. Well, we are smart enough to come up with our own agenda and our own strategies. If we can just put aside our social justice mentalities for a moment and understand that in order for us to create an inheritance in our community, we have to think economics first, and that's what we need to be doing. And economics is deeply rooted in financial literacy and financial empowerment, and really pulling ourselves together to move our communities forward. This is how we're going to get the attention of the executive office, is by having an economic agenda that is credible, that is strategic, and then we need to place our lobbyists on Capitol Hill and in these state capitals. We need to have, where's our black-owned and operated lobbying firms? Where are our African lobbying firms to discuss our issues and to discuss our platform. And this is all about the art of the deal. This is about negotiations, ladies and gentlemen. It's always in politics about economics and negotiation. That is all this man understands. So we need to stop with the fear factor and, oh, Lord Jesus, it's going to be terrible for the next 4 years and all this stuff. You put that stuff in your spirit and put that stuff in the universe, it will be terrible for you. But I guarantee you this, I'm going to be looking for some damn loopholes with this man and try to exploit those loopholes in terms of resources to make this work. So all I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, is that, yeah, Donald Trump is the president. The GOP retain control. And we don't need to be afraid of that. We need to be sitting down now, strategically getting ourselves together and start having some serious skin in the game. We got to fight for justice and blah, 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 and all these things. And we need to be serious about economic strategies that we can implement both domestically and internationally. Don't think that Donald Trump, yes, he has a mindset of a what they call an isolationist, and I've been using that a lot with him. To me, he's an isolationist philosophically, but the bottom line is, outside of him being an isolationist philosophically, that doesn't mean that he's going to be practicing isolationist practices in the 21st century global reality. That's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a global society. The United States is part of a world community, and we all understand that. Keep this in mind, that Hispanic people in this country, they have an economic stake in this election and future elections, and that is the United States are trading partners with Mexico. The Asians have a stake in this election and future elections because the United States is trading with Southeast Asia, and the Europeans, of course, have a stake because Germany, France, and all these other places trade with the U.S. economics. Black people, when are we going to learn to trade with sub-Saharan Africa? When are we going to learn and get it right? Trading with the Caribbean. We don't need a Donald Trump to tell us to trade with our own people. We have to move away from the tribalism and talk about, well, I don't want to work with these Africans because I don't relate to them or I can't understand their language. Well, you better learn to understand more than just English. That goes for all of us. And it's time for us to take our investments in the diaspora very seriously. So it's time for us to understand that Donald Trump is president, and don't worry about it. Everything's going to be just fine. Let's keep the train moving. I'll see you guys later.